Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've got a very special guest here.
Here I am.
Husband Matt is with me today, and we are going to be answering a bunch of questions.
Oh yes.
So recently on Instagram I asked you guys to ask us a bunch of questions, just like pretty much everyone else. Not everyone else, but a lot of people in the world. We are currently quarantined, so we figured why not do like... Actually, this was your idea.
It was. Trying to get the content out there.
I'm trying to make it sound like it was my idea. It was totally Matt's idea. So we're gonna do a quarantine Q&A, essentially. So we got a ton of questions and...
I put them all together into a format.
So organized.
Marriage, into jobs, into homesteading, into Hayden and babies.
Hayden.
So if you're not interested in marriage, go ahead, skip ahead.
I call him Mr. Efficiency, and now you can see why.
Yes.
I would have just scrolled through at random and picked them.
Yeah.
Alright, hit me. What's the first question?
All right, first question. What is the hardest part of marriage?
Oh, just diving right in.
Getting in there.
I think like being on the same page. It's important to be on the same page. And I guess if you can't be on the same page, being able to respect each other's opinion.
Yeah, and with that, being able to sacrifice for the other person.
Yeah.
Can be hard, but it should be something you want to do in marriage.
Right, because now you're like a unit.
Right.
But yeah, being on the same page, because you know sometimes you disagree, and that's honestly something we're good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're similar people, so we're on the same page about a lot of things, just off the bat.
And kind of off of that, best tips for a great marriage.
Aw.
And I kind of think my answer for hardest part might be a great tip is just knowing to sacrifice for the other person, not giving yourself away either.
Right.
Kind of getting the best of both worlds out of each other.
I think my best tip is don't marry someone you're not meant to marry. Make sure you're marrying your best friend, someone who just loves you unconditionally and supports you unconditionally. I think that's really important. But when you're actually married, I think my best tip is to always try and put the other person first and think about where they're at and what they're thinking, so that you can always just, keep them happy, because that's important.
Yeah. What advice would you give a young couple on the horizon of marriage, nearing that chapter in my life?
Oh, that's exciting. I think just be excited and be ready to dive in. Again, if this is your person and you have no qualms about marrying them, then it's meant to be. And marriage is really awesome and fun.
Yeah.
And like getting to do life with your best friend and your other half, it's a good time.
I still enjoy it to this day, obviously, but
Yeah.
I would say
Good.
enjoy the beginning, enjoy the wedding, however big or small your wedding is, and then enjoy the
It's so fun.
time after. Hopefully you're going on a honeymoon at some point. Enjoy that.
Yeah, soak it in, because you'll never get that again.
Our next question, how did you know you were ready for marriage? Did you live together beforehand?
Did we live together beforehand?
We did. We got engaged in August of 2015.
Yeah.
And then moved in together October 2015, and then lived together for a year, just under a year, before we got married in October of 2016.
Yep. So how did we know we were ready? We have like a long history. We actually did a whole video a long time ago on like our whole background and love story. But in a nutshell, we dated when we were in high school. Matt went off to college. He's a couple years older than me. We broke up. It wasn't a great breakup.
No.
We didn't speak very much. Well, you tried to talk to me a lot.
Of course.
But so that went on for like 6 years. And then when we eventually got back together, because the timing wasn't right, but then it was, and then, we were meant to be together. But when we did get back together, I just feel like I knew right away. Like I knew we had this long, complicated thing. I could never get you out of my mind.
We found our way back together.
We did. And it was just like, yeah, done.
It's also moving in together before marriage.
Okay, I don't think it's ever a bad idea. I understand why some people don't. For us, like, we did not go through, everyone always says like your first year of marriage is the hardest because you have to like learn to live together. We did like, I feel like we moved in together. And it was,
we were
like,
excited
fine.
to live together.
Like,
we got to see each other more often.
We didn't, and I'm not saying it's bad to have struggles with that, because it is like a major adjustment and transition in life, but like we just did not struggle with that. Yeah. Like we just like hanging out. So we like to be together. Obviously we like to be together. We're together all the time. So it wasn't a big transition for us. But I think if you suspect it might be, then I don't think it's a bad idea to move in before. But then again, I totally understand why people don't. And from our experience, I wouldn't say it is necessary at all, because if we had just moved in together when we got married, we still would have had a great first year of marriage. So.
All right, what annoys you most about each other? This is always hard.
Why don't you go first?
But I always think, and I don't know that I get annoyed, but maybe I do because I'm saying it, but sometimes I think Becca can't admit she's wrong, or she can't apologize because.
What?
Yeah. So. And sometimes she does. Not saying she never does, but it takes her some time to get to that point.
I don't like to be wrong. It's true, but sometimes I am wrong, and sometimes I do apologize first.
Sure.
But you probably do it more.
Yeah.
Okay, what annoys me about Matt? Honestly, hardly anything, except for 2 things. Everything else, we're smooth sailing. You're driving.
My driving?
Yes.
Very efficient driver.
I'm white-knuckled the whole time. A lot of stress. You are very...
No accidents except for when I first turned 16. So...
You're very alert.
14 years.
I mean, you are a good driver in that you're alert. You're over alert. You're so worried about what everyone else is doing that you get annoyed. And then you take it out on the pedals.
All right, what's number 2?
Okay. You're a little impatient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which that's true. Yeah. But I love you anyway.
Thank you. When and how did you guys meet? So again, there's a whole video on this, but we met in high school. I was a senior. She was a sophomore. We met obviously when she was a freshman. Yeah, we knew each other. It was a small school. And then I went to college and we broke up after dating for like 6 or 7 months or so. Mm-hmm. And then I was always trying to reach back out to her because I knew it wasn't the right decision, but I also knew I wasn't ready to commit.
Yeah.
And then.
But then I reached out to him.
And Becca reached out to me, and I was.
After all those years.
And I jumped at Then I jumped at the opportunity, and here we are now. So.
The rest is history. Okay, kind of as a follow-up to that question, someone asked, were we nervous when we got back together, like if we had changed? I wasn't nervous, I was just really excited.
I mean, I was nervous just for the first date.
Well, yeah, like butterfly nerves.
Yeah, but I knew I wasn't nervous about dating you again.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous that you had like changed as a person. It honestly was like, it picked up right where we left off,
yeah.
It felt like.
All right, how did you save money for your first home? So, again, I'm 2 years older than Becca, so I was out of school for 4 years before we bought a house, so I had been saving money and I had been living at home.
Yeah, that saved a ton of money.
Yeah, with my dad, and when she got out of college, she moved home with her parents and saved money, and then put that together to be able to put a down payment on a house. So we moved straight from our parents' houses to buying a house. Yeah. What are your jobs?
All right, I guess I'll explain this. So, well, first off, I'm a registered dietitian. Matt is a CPA, accountant. So we both used to work in corporate America. I did counseling and clinical. He did auditing. Yeah. But now we both work together and for ourselves. So obviously I have this YouTube channel and all the social media that goes along with that. But also we have a young living business, which is huge, and like huge for us. It's a huge part of our business or jobs.
Yep.
And we love it. So I started that kind of on my own along with the YouTube channel, and I was doing that working for myself for a couple of years, and then we got to the point where, well, I needed help, but also we were able to retire Matt from the corporate world, and now he works with me and he does like all the back end and the finance and the admin, and I do more of the creative side, which is where my strengths are.
Definitely where our strengths are. This is more to Becca. What is your job description, which you kind of explained, but do you still work as an RD?
Oh yeah, this is a good question. So I get this question all the time. So I am still definitely a practicing RD, just not in a typical sense. So there actually is like so much flexibility with what you can do as a dietitian, which is really cool. And like there's this whole leg of like being an entrepreneurial dietitian, and that's like, you know, you have a blog, or you are just basically having like an online presence, or you know, your own practice or something like that. And that's what I do. I don't see patients, I don't see clients. I used to do that, but now this is just where I am totally meant to be. And there is still so much I want to do with this platform and just all of my platforms in general, and sharing nutrition education. almost to the point where like I'm overwhelmed. I don't really like know where to turn next because I have so many passions. Obviously intuitive eating is a huge one. I love like breastfeeding and pregnancy and feeding young children and teaching them how to be intuitive eaters. So there's so much I still want to do, and I'm still so early in my career. But essentially my day-to-day is YouTube and Instagram and all of that, and my Young Living business. And yeah, we'll see kind of where life and my career takes me.
What was Matt's job before he began working with you? Kind of explained it, but
yeah.
Got out of school, I got my accounting degree, got my CPA, and then worked in the auditing field for 6 years before leaving to work with her, which is the best decision ever.
Yeah, I worked a lot of hours.
Again, to me, as a former CPA, I'm curious if Matt still does anything with accounting. Personally, I've let my license go since I went into teaching. So I'm keeping my license for the foreseeable future, just in case I ever need it again. Don't plan on using it, but in terms of accounting, just doing our finances and stuff like that, and for our businesses.
But you don't like have clients or anything?
No clients or anything. Are there any challenges to working at home with Matt, or do y'all tend to get along well?
I would say we get along very well. I totally get that not everyone wants or can like do this, but we really do love being together all the time. We love just hanging out, and not that we're hanging out all day because we are working and being with Hayden and stuff, but I think the biggest challenge is just we have to be like pretty clear about like who's gonna be, because we switch on and off. Like one of us is with Hayden like one-on-one and the other one is working one-on-one. So just being really clear about like the structure of our day and who's gonna be where. Because if we're not, that's when it gets a little like, well, I need to do this. And
and just making sure Becca answers all our emails. That's a key in our day-to-day. All right, time for Becca to preach. What advice would you give a young entrepreneur? I really want you to touch on working from home, getting sponsorships / brand deals, and just being able to make a full income from home.
Okay. If you want to do it, you can do it. You just have to be really willing to work. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a long time. Like I'm talking years before you can actually successfully work from home as your sole situation, self-employed. It took me years to get to this point, and it took me so much work, like so many hours. And this is all on top of like normal life, like a normal job, planning a wedding or like training for a marathon, like getting a dog, like on top of all of the other responsibilities that take up like 95% of your time. You have to make the time and you have to go for it, and you have to not give up. I think so many people give up nowadays because we're so like instant gratification. We're used to just getting what we want when we want it, but that's just not how it works. Like you have to be willing to grind and to wait and to grind and to wait and to grind and to wait, even when it feels like there's no, like you're not bearing any fruits of all of your labor. Like it does come eventually, and it's so worth it. As far as getting like brand deals and stuff like that, like on social media, there are ways that you can, there's different platforms that you can like Google that you can like essentially pitch different brands based on like what products that they want to be promoted. I don't really do that anymore. I have like a manager that sends me potential brand opportunities that can come later down the line. But then also I would recommend making a media kit. Again, this is something you can Google or Pinterest to get ideas and see what I'm talking about, but being able to, if you want to reach out to brands yourself, not through any of those platforms, and just being able to send that and shoot that over just to give them like a snapshot of what you have to offer essentially, and what your strengths are and what you do, that will really help to lock down brand deals.
I just want to add on that. It does take a lot of time, like Becca said. We were just looking, or I was just looking on her YouTube account to videos when she first started in like 2013. It was like, it's like just makeup videos, which it's
so
just
cringy.
Crazy how she evolved, but
yeah,
it took time to like gain that following and find what she was good at on YouTube. Not that she's not good at doing makeup, but that wasn't. I think it was just an oversaturated market. So.
Yeah.
What are your biggest tips for combating judgment from others when it comes to leading a non-toxic lifestyle?
Ooh, this is a good question. Okay, I definitely got like some like from family members at first, just kind of like, what are you telling me? But I have gotten a lot of like, well, maybe not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but like some pushback sharing online about like why I switched to a non-toxic lifestyle and why it's so important to be, you know, an informed consumer and aware of what you're bringing into your house. I feel like it was kind of a personally, it was a little bit of like a natural transition for me to start talking about that, because I would always teach that about food, you know, look at the ingredients, see what you're actually putting in your body, it's important. And I never even thought about products. So when I had this realization myself, it was just kind of like second nature to start sharing that too. And I know it's helped a lot of people, but there definitely have been, you know, mean people along the way. And honestly, I think it just comes from a place of, like, I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm just trying to share the information, and people can do with it what they want. But I remember when I was first told on like a YouTube video where I was sharing products, and I got all these comments of people being like, you're not using safe stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I remember feeling like defensive, like, oh, my products are fine, like, get out of here. And I think that's where the hate, not the hate, but I think that's where a little bit of that pushback comes from. So just understanding that it's not about you, it's about them. And, you know, we're not trying to force anyone to do anything, but if you do have information that helped you, it's never a bad idea to share it. And I would just say, do you, you know, like, if it's important to you, and it's something that's good for you and healthy and a good choice, then I just think you do your thing. And if people don't get it, then they don't get it, and that's fine. It doesn't affect you, and maybe they'll even eventually come around, which would be awesome. But if not, it's, you know, it's not your life, so just worry about yourself and do your thing.
Did your hubby ever have a hard time with you starting network marketing with Waya in the beginning, or was he skeptical at all?
Ooh, yeah. No, short answer is no, but let's hear it.
I never really put any thought when she started into like the MLM aspect.
Yeah.
I remember when she came in, when she met with one of her leaders and now really good friends, and like learned about the compensation plan with Young Living and everything. She showed me the numbers of like what people could make, and I was just like, in my head, like, how could that happen to us? Like, it just doesn't seem possible. But I also wasn't like, no way, you could never do this. Just like, yeah, do your thing, that's awesome. And then 10 months later, I left my job. So.
I feel like you were very supportive, but you had no expectations. You were just kind of like, okay, cool. Like,
correct, yeah. Correct.
Do your thing, yeah, but not finally it's gonna come with this. You didn't say that to me, but I feel like that was yours.
But yeah, I see nothing wrong with, I mean, at least with Young Living, with their MLM structure, because
we really can't speak for any other companies.
Yeah, can't speak for other companies, but
I don't know anything about that.
Just because Becca does well doesn't mean people above her do. It's, you know, it's dependent on the work that you do as an individual, and you're just sharing products that you use, and people can buy at their own free will. So I don't see any problem with an MLM. Yeah,
they get a bad rap, but again, just Young Living is all we can speak for, and it's been like the best experience. It's like any negative expectation I had or like worry I had about it, because I was worried when I first got involved, because you hear so many bad things about them, but any expectation I had that was negative, I mean, it's been like completely turned on its head, and I wouldn't still be like a part of it or talking about it if it wasn't awesome, because, you know, if you know me, I'm like very genuine, and I don't like mess around with spending time on things that aren't worth my time, because time is so limited. So I love it.
How does Matt feel about the Homestead life? Does he ever miss work? All right, first, honestly,
we're not homesteaders.
Well, no, I was gonna say I'll let you get into that, but honestly, I don't really ever miss work. I mean, some people could be passionate about accounting or auditing, and that's awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of like something I might miss about it. Maybe like the interaction with people every day, but I also love just being home. There's not many pros that could outweigh the pros here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You don't miss work.
No, I don't. And Homestead Life, I think that's a future goal.
Yeah, so we're not homesteaders.
I don't even know if it's a goal.
We would live. Well,
this is all new, so.
Yeah. So we moved into a farmhouse. We have a few acres. We got chickens very recently. This is not going to turn into like a farm. We don't have the capability of doing that on this property, but someday the dream would be lots of animals and more self-sufficiency, growing our own food and all of that. And you're on board. Well, remember actually the other day, or no, it was like a month ago, I've always had that dream. Matt has always been like indifferent about that. But then you came to me and said what? Do you remember?
We should have a cow or something.
He was like, I want more land, I want cows. I want to do it.
I think it would be awesome to have more land, and just, we're not extremely outgoing and like need interaction with like neighbors and stuff.
Yeah.
So not that I like don't like neighbors, but I think it would be awesome just to have our own property, like closed in, a lot of land.
So yeah, we would love to have that. I was like kind of floored because I've not been pressuring him into this dream of mine, but you were kind of like, hey, I'm on board.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god.
I don't know if I want to take care of all these animals. I'd have to get on board with that.
It's a gradual, you know.
If anyone out there wants to do that for us, that'd be great. Was farmhouse living something you guys planned on from the start? Looking into that for myself too, and I'm wondering what kind of planning I should be doing. Sending love from the West Coast.
Okay, I feel like we kind of answered this, but again, this was always been my dream. If you like look back at old videos, I've like talked about this like a few different times where I want to live in an old farmhouse. I want to have chickens, maybe more animals. So it's always been my dream. But again, Matt's just kind of indifferent. He's a very easygoing person, and he's just kind of like along for the ride.
Yeah. Just more on the homesteading. What's like the final dream? Do you want to be able to sell at farmers markets, or do you want to just produce enough for your own family needs?
I don't think we ever see that life as being like a business, like a financial thing. So I don't see that we would ever be like a working farm. It'd be more like a hobby farm, and we wouldn't like sell our goods. It would be more for just providing for our family.
Do you think you'll start trying for another baby anytime soon?
Yeah, I don't think we want to wait. Yeah. If you're new around here, we had a miscarriage not too long ago, like at the very end of our first trimester, and it was awful. It was really hard, but we want a big family, and we just kind of don't really want to wait. So we'll see whenever God wants to give us another baby.
How many more kids do you want?
How many more do you want?
I want to have another one and see how that is, but I think assuming that we can continue to have babies and that another one isn't crazy. I think 4 would be awesome. I grew up with 3 siblings, so.
Yeah, 4, maybe 5. We'll see when we get there. But 4 is like, I think, the sweet spot. I just want our kids to have siblings, like a bunch of siblings. Even if it's hard for us, I like want to give that to them. Yeah. Cool.
Would you ever consider a home birth in the future?
Oh, 1000%. Yeah, that's like not even a question. I actually, with this pregnancy that we lost, we were seriously considering. There's actually a home birth midwife in our area, and I gave birth at a birth center with Hayden, which there really is no difference as far as like what's available technology-wise at a birth center versus a home birth. The midwife brings everything that the midwives have at the birth center, so it's no different other than you're just home. So yeah, we'll see. I love the birth center where I gave birth to Hayden. They were like so there for me during the miscarriage, so I have just such a connection to the midwives there. So I don't know if I could actually like not be seeing them anymore, because I'm just so, it's like a big family there, and I love being a part of it. So I don't know if I could actually leave the birth center, but I'm totally open to it. And actually, when we were talking about it, do you remember when you realized who could be there if we had a home birth? And you were
if Rosie could be there, I think that would really help. Our dog right here would help her.
She's laying behind us. Can you see her? Oh, you can. She's been there the whole time. I didn't even notice.
Would help for an easy and smooth pregnancy.
Oh yeah.
Or birth.
Yeah.
How about names you each liked for Hayden but the other didn't like?
I feel like we didn't have any names that we were at odds on.
Yeah.
Like we had the hardest time picking out Hayden's name.
For a while we thought she would be Blake.
Yeah. And then there was like a few contenders that we were like, all right, we like it, and then we were like, no, that's just not it. So we like agreed, and then didn't like, and then we were always in agreement, but it was hard to find a name we liked. But we love Hayden. Yeah,
all right, of course we do. Are you planning on homeschooling Hayden?
I don't think so. Matt is like definitely not on the homeschool train. The only reason I say I don't think so is I would have never considered it ever. We never went, I didn't know anyone except, actually I have a couple cousins who were homeschooled, but that was just not our experience. But I do have so many friends I've met through Instagram and through Young Living that do homeschool, so it's like I just learned a lot more about it just by being around these people online. So it's a little bit more on my radar, but I don't think that's our plan.
How was it between you and Matt after becoming parents to Hayden? Did you ever feel like you didn't have the time for each other anymore? It's probably different for us because we work from home together, so it's not like one of us was going off to work, or both of us going off to work and coming home only for a few hours with Hayden. So that probably made it a little bit easier. Yeah,
I agree. I think it would be a totally different story if one or both of us was gone all day, and then you come home and it's like dinner, Hayden goes to sleep, and then like all of a sudden you have like you know, an hour or two before you need to start like getting ready for the next day and going to bed, I think that's a lot different. Yeah. But we have spent all day together, so especially in the beginning she slept a lot, so it was like just us.
Right. What is the most difficult part of parenting an adorable little toddler?
She's pretty good, but probably the most difficult part is she's a toddler. You know, she gets angry or upset at things that are illogical, but that's just like life with a toddler. And I'm more like, just, you know, let her like have her feelings, like let her let it out, it's all good. And I'm more like, I can like tune it out a little more. Not that I'm tuning her out, but like, you know, just letting her have her moment and get the emotions out.
Yeah, sometimes the whining and...
You have a harder time with that.
Yeah, I have a harder time.
Which is
because I just want to fix it and make her feel better.
Yeah. But I want her to learn that she can have her emotions.
I agree.
Yeah.
How did you guys sleep train Hayden? This tired mama would love to know. P.S. Love your channel so much.
So we did sleep train. We did the taking care of babies. Well, first I loved her newborn class, which is not sleep training, but it's just sleep tips. And Hayden started sleeping through the night when she was like around 5 weeks old, I think. Like we'd put her down at 11, she would sleep till 7 or 8, like that kind of sleep through the night. And that was great. We did sleep train. We did use the taking care of babies like sleep training course. I have a love-hate relationship with sleep training. It's great because Hayden sleeps through the night almost every single night. Like I don't even remember the last time she woke up in the middle of the night. That's great. But for us, it was not like it wasn't like a do this for 2 weeks and your baby's gonna sleep through the night. It was like a lot of back and forth, and like it took a long time for it to be consistent where she would sleep every night. Right. I think. So I don't know.
Yeah, stay consistent even if it's hard in the beginning, which it was.
Yeah, because they cry.
Yeah.
But she's a great sleeper now. She gets her sleep, so that's good.
Are you planning to change anything exercise, nutrition, supplement-wise before TTC again?
That's a good question. There is so much that you can do to prep your body for pregnancy, both of you. Sperm health counts too. And I would recommend, I've never heard about this topic, I would recommend, there's a podcast called Fertility Friday. She also has a book called The Fifth Vital Sign. That's probably like my favorite resource for talking about prepping for pregnancy, because she talks about it a lot and she's awesome. We honestly already kind of do a lot of that. We're pretty healthy, you know, we take our supplements, we're like kind of on it. I don't think we're gonna change anything that we're doing. I feel like everyone could probably improve certain areas, but I just don't think we're probably gonna make any changes this time around.
Was Matt really into nutrition, wellness, or non-toxic living before meeting you? I didn't really know what non-toxic, I don't think I even heard of non-toxic living until about 3 years ago.
Me neither.
But
you were always into fitness.
I was into fitness, but not really diet. I would eat whatever, which I still have those tendencies still, but...
Well, everybody does.
Right.
But you eat much better now.
Yeah,
than before.
Because of you, which is a good thing. I'm happy about. Does Matt tend to eat pretty clean, healthy foods as you do? So yes, now I do pretty much. Sometimes I like to sneak away and get some Chick-fil-A, but not that you don't.
You don't have to sneak away.
Yeah. Or is
I get Chick-fil-A too sometimes.
Or is there any differences that drive each other crazy? My husband always feels like I'm mothering him because I want him to stop drinking Mountain Dew and eating less processed food. I think it just kind of happened naturally. She kept introducing things and I would eventually just jump on it. I don't know if I'm more open-minded or I think it was like a slow transition. But not that I don't still eat some crap every once in a while.
Yeah, that's the key. Just the introducing and not forcing. I think if I were to nag you about it, I mean, anyone who's like nagged about anything, it makes them not want to do it. So I never like got on your case about it. It was just kind of like, we moved in together and here's what's in the fridge, and again, it was like a natural, slow progression.
Yeah. Last question. Would you guys ever consider getting another dog? Of course. I mean, no dog could ever be better than Rosie, but at some point we'd love to, probably when the kid Hayden, and if we have other kids, get older.
So they can like enjoy the puppy stage, you know, because that's like such a joy of life, which is why we haven't gotten another dog yet, but we would love another one.
Yeah.
So, okay, you guys, so we answered as many questions as we could. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something new about us.
Yeah.
Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at Becca Bristow so we can hang out on there. Matt's on there pretty decent amount too.
Leave a comment if you want to see what my husband eats in a day.
Oh, all right. Or what I eat in a day with a husband voiceover.
That'd be good too. So either or both.
Or both, yeah, we can do both. So yeah, leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Again, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.